Hello everyone, MFPallytime here. Welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. Today's a big day. The very first Overwatch character has been added into the Nexus. If you were able to pre-order the digital collector's edition of Overwatch or something like that, you now have access to Tracer. If you didn't pre-order that, you will have it soon, TM, but I thought it would be fun to do another theory crafting video. So we're going to jump into try mode. This is going to be a very long, drawn-out, boring explanation of all of her talents, and then me coming up with a build that I think will be successful for the character. If that does not interest you, you have been warned. Leave now or forever hold your peace. Okay, so Tracer's abilities, they're actually really cool. What we have is Blink on her Q ability. This is going to have 3 charges and a 6-second cooldown per charge. So we can use all of these at once and zip around a lot. Or I'm going to toggle cooldowns off just to get all of my charges back really quick. Or we can use one, attack a little bit, use another, attack a little bit, use another, attack a little bit. Her W ability is called Melee because they couldn't come up with, I guess they couldn't say Pistol Whip, because that's basically what she does. She walks up to something and then she smacks it with her pistol. I'm gonna toggle off cooldowns again so you can see it, or there you go. It's just straight up hitting things with a pistol. And her E ability is called Recall, and this allows her to return to a location that she was at 3 seconds prior to the button press. So eventually we're gonna see someone do something terrible like this. Oh no, I'm getting killed by a tower. Blink, 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 and recall. Oh no, I died to a tower. So it does require a little bit of concentration. Make sure you don't teleport back into something that's a little bad. But very good ability. I want to say, just for the record, that I absolutely love Tracer's playstyle. She is my favorite character to be added to the game in a long time. Probably since Rexar, and I loved Rexar for completely opposite reasons. I don't even know why I loved Rexar, but fucking incredible playstyle. Her trait is called, I actually don't know, it's called Reload. And what's interesting about it is she can actually, what's the best way to show this? We can go on this minion down here. She can actually attack on the move. So essentially you right click once to select the target that you want to attack, and then you are then just basically telling your character where to go. And I'm doing this by holding down the button rather than clicking frantically. It just seems a bit more fluid that way. But let's say that target dies and you have 3 shots left. Well, you can just manually reload instead of going back into combat with 3 shots in your clip or in your magazine or whatever the correct terminology is. Now, her ultimate is something that she has at level 1 but works on a charge system. It is an incredibly short skill shot. You have to be right up next to someone, but you throw out a sticky bomb that will then deal AoE damage. And again, it works on a charge system. So the more damage we're going to be dealing in combat, you can see our icon has changed. The more damage we deal in combat, the faster we get this back. We get about 5% for every clip we fire off. And if we are able to melee something, we get, I believe, 10% just for using our W ability as well. So it is something, under the right circumstances, you can get back very quickly. But in the middle of combat, you're probably only going to be able to throw 1 or 2 of these out in a team fight. I would say best case scenario. But she has a incredibly fun, incredibly fast, incredibly mobile kit. And I have to say, I am just absolutely in love with this. Now, if you're looking to play Tracer, one thing I would recommend, if you're like me and you play with quick cast on release, so let me go ahead and turn that off. So we're gonna put my Q back on release. I did have some issues with this. So with on release casting, you cancel your action by right clicking. So if I was to say, if I was getting a skill shot for Stitches ready and I didn't want to throw it, so imagine this is a hook across the screen. If I didn't want to throw this, I would just right click and we'd be good to go. You run into some problems with this when you're trying to blink and right clicking. It can become quite difficult to actually pull that off. So I recommend, if you do play with quick cast on release like I do, you go into your hotkeys and you simply put your blink as an on quick cast. In fact, I recommend you do this if you play with the button press and then left click as well, just because you want this ability to be as responsive as possible, and it will just go to where your cursor is located. and it actually feels really good. That's a new system that Heroes recently added in a couple patches ago, and I think it was because Tracer was on the horizon. So, let's go ahead and start to take a look at her talents. I do have a build in mind already. I have played 3 games with her with viewers on a live stream. I had some incredibly good success with it, but level 1, our options are Pulse Strike, increases melee pulse bomb charge from 10% to 15%. What this means is that when you hit something with your W ability, which again, you have to be super close in order to be able to use. So this icon down here, our W ability, it will light up when we're in range. And as you can see, you have to be super close to an enemy in order to make this happen. So it is a bit hard to use, but if you do jump into melee range, you are going to get 15% of your charge instead of 10 if you pick up that talent. Our other option is Slipstream. Reduces recall's cooldown by 4 seconds. It's a 24-second cooldown by default, and it returns us to a second earlier. So instead of going back 3 seconds, we're going to go back 4 seconds. And Tracer Rounds. Your basic attacks reveal enemies for 4 seconds. Not a bad talent at all, especially if your enemy team has some stealthies on it. We used this against a Zeratul, and it worked out really, really well. But I would say in most cases, I think Slipstream is going to be your best option here. Rewind is probably one of the strongest tools in your entire kit if used properly. And picking up the cooldown reduction at level 1 just means you could use it more often. At level 4, we have Parting Gift. Recall leaves behind 3 bombs that deal 547 damage to each to different targets. So what this looks like is this. I'm going to toggle off cooldowns. Remember, this is like a 20-second cooldown at this point. But every time we recall, we're going to be dropping bombs. These bombs, I haven't had much luck with them. For instance, like, let's go over to the target dummy here. We're not going to attack it. We're just going to recall. I don't even think we did any damage to the target dummy. Maybe we did. Maybe I'm teleporting out too fast. So let's hang out here just for a second. Yeah, it did 500 damage. But you have to be like, the odds of it actually hitting, depending on your positioning, are not very good. So you have to be immediately to the right or left of the hero in order for it to land. And it doesn't seem like they bounce out in the same pattern each time. Actually, they do. So you're never going to hit anything behind you. So if my butt is to the statue, we're not going to hit it ever. But if we're next to it, if we're running into it, it looks like we can hit with the bomb. So it is 547 damage at level 21, which is pretty strong. But I think there are better options here. So let's go ahead and reset our talents again. Again, Slipstream level 1 is at a health pack, increases regeneration globe and healing fountain healing by 100%. So it's going to double the amount of healing that we get from regen globes and from fountains, from sippy cups. Not bad. You know, with how mobile your character is and how squishy you actually are, keep in mind we're at level 21 right now and we have less than 3,000 health. That's pretty squishy. With all that considered, you know, maybe that's a good talent for sustain, but personally, I don't really like it. I would say if you're gonna pick one talent in the tier and you're confident with your Tracer play and you have a support that is gonna keep you alive, Untouchable can be incredibly strong. Takedowns increase your basic attack damage by 2% up to 30%, but these bonuses are lost upon death. So if you get 15 takedowns, which typically isn't very hard to do with throughout the course of a game, you are going to be able to deal significantly more damage. Remember, your basic attacks are essentially your main way of dealing damage. Yes, you have the melee, but the melee's on an 8-second cooldown. And we're going to be going in here and we're going to be shooting stuff constantly. And we're going to ramp up how fast we can shoot stuff throughout the course of the game. So Untouchable can be an incredibly strong talent if you are confident in staying alive. If not, I would go for Parting Gift just because it has synergy with our lower cooldown reduction at level 1. But Untouchable, man, that's where it's at. At level 7, I think all of these talents are perfectly viable and it's going to be up to your preference. If you see one that you like more than the one I picked, then go with that. We have Jumper, increases blink charges by 1, so it's going to give you 4 charges instead of 3. One nice thing that I like about the icon, by the way, on blink is that as I use these charges, we can see them disappear off of our blink. I should turn cooldowns back on so you can see what it's really like to use the ability. But not bad. Gives you 1 more blink charge, probably save your life a lot. Basic attacks lower the cooldown of blink by 0.1 second. So every single basic attack is going to be lowering the cooldown. This is the one I prefer, and that's because I pick up another very specific talent later on in the tree that synergizes very, very well with this. So bullet time is the one that I like, but again, I think all of these are viable. And then the last talent, level 7, Spectacle Echo. No, that's not right at all. I didn't say that right at all. But anyway, using recall grants 2 charges of blink, so if you were to do this, then blink, or excuse me, if you were to do those blinks and then rewind, you could then blink twice more. I would say that's the weaker of the options, but I don't know. Because usually when you recall, it's because you're going back to a safe spot anyway, and you don't really need the blink charges, from what I can tell anyway. At level 10, she does not get a different heroic ability. She has the Pulse Bomb all of the time, but she actually is the only character that has 3 options at level 10. She can augment the way that the Pulse Bomb works. The first option is Sticky Bomb, increases Pulse Bomb's radius by 50% and enemies hit are slowed by 60%. So it increases the, I'll show you all of these. It increases the range pretty substantially, and also is going to have a little bit of utility with it as far as providing an AoE slow to your team. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Again, still very short range, but that's the radius now. Can be very, very good in team fights under the right circumstances. The other options that we have are Quantum Spike, increases the Pulse Bomb single target damage. It's going to deal 10% of the primary target's maximum health. Now, I think with this particular talent, we are going to have to directly land the Sticky Bomb to get the biggest effect out of it. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it seems to be the case. Oh, by the way, oh, never mind. I take it back. Just ignore that pause. So if we were to come in here on Arfis, if we stick him with the Sticky Bomb, I missed, of course, but it would deal percentage-based health damage. This would be great versus a super heavy warrior team. Someone like a Cho'Gall on the enemy team, you would do laughable amounts of damage. But, you know, a heavy front line like maybe a Diablo and a Sonya, Diablo Chen, ETC Diablo. A lot of Diablo in here because Diablo has really, really high health. Also, Azmodan is starting to be popular again, so if your enemy team has an Azmodan, this will actually do a very considerable amount of damage to him as well. And the last talent that you can pick at level 10 is going to be Pulse Rounds, and this is the one I typically go for. Increases Pulse Bomb range and charge rate from basic attacks against heroes by 150%. This basically just means that you don't have to blink so close to someone to use the ability. Instead, you're able to cast it from a pretty respectable distance. Let's go ahead and get our charge back. Just smack this guy around a little bit, this poor target dummy. So it just means that you can cast it from a significantly longer range. For me, it becomes easier to land like that, a lot easier to land. And this also means that we're going to be getting significantly more charge just from auto-attacking. And remember, my build is focused around auto-attacking to reduce the blink cooldown time, so we can auto-attack a ton and become extra mobile. So adding more auto attack elements on top of that makes a little bit of sense, and you're gonna see why soon. But Pulse Bomb is the one that I go for the most. It's the talent that fits with my playstyle the most, and I enjoy having the increased range on that ability to really just play a little bit safer on this very, very fragile character. At level 13, there is one really fucking good option, and that is Leeching Rounds. So basic attacks against enemy heroes are going to heal you. This is huge. This is one of the best survivability tools you can get. So every time we auto attack, we're just going to be healing. We were comboing this with Abathur Shields that were also healing. We were also comboing this with Tassadar, Leeching Plasma, and Kala's Embrace. We were able to live through just about everything. Let's take some damage here. Let's show it off a little bit. So I'm just gonna, cooldowns are normal right now. We're not doing anything out of the ordinary. We're just gonna try to deal as much damage to Arfis. Maybe he'll actually hit us at some point too. That would be exciting. But you can see that we're taking a ton of damage from like minions in the area, and we were able to keep our health high throughout that entire encounter. And again, this is going to scale exceptionally well with other talents that are like this from other characters, like the Leeching Plasma from Tassadar. But if you don't want to go for this, the other options are actually not that bad. This is just the one that I like the most with all the setups that we've been doing. So let's go ahead and reset these really quick. Ricochet is, I think, the weakest of them. Your basic attacks have a 50% chance to hit another nearby enemy, prioritizing heroes. I have not seen too much damage coming out of this, although it can spread a little bit of damage around if the enemy team is super clumped up. But I haven't seen much of a payoff from this, I'm not going to lie. One of Tracer's glaring weaknesses is that she has like zero capability of pushing. She's very, very single target damage oriented. She is an assassin style character through and through. And you can help alleviate this problem by increasing the melee radius by 50%, and it does damage to all enemies in range. So again, the radius of this ability is super small. If you pick this up, it's going to increase it quite a bit, and then you can go in and start to melee down some enemies, which can be quite fucking strong. If you are on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen or maybe Towers of Doom, where pushing is extremely important, this would be a good talent to pick up just to help with the actual objective a little bit more. It's good to have tools like this in your arsenal to make your character a little bit more well-rounded in an area that they weren't really competent in before, and this is one of those examples for sure. Let's go ahead and heal up off of this thing. Now, again, the talent that I would recommend would be Leeching Rounds, because she has 0 sustain up until this point in the game so far, and it can really, really help out in the middle of a team fight while you're blinking around and taking a ton of damage from everybody. So, again, Leeching Rounds is what I would go for there. Let's go ahead and pick my talents one more time. I'm getting pretty good at it. Now, this is the level range where the build starts to really cement itself and the playstyle will become a lot more apparent for my particular build. So, Sleight of Hand is the one that I go for here. Reduces the reload time by 50%. This is equal to 20% more damage per second. We don't really care about the damage per second upgrade. What we care about is the fact that we will always, and I mean always, be firing this gun, which means we're going to get a ton of blink charges, which means we're going to be able to just chase down anyone wherever we want to and be incredibly effective at doing that. And remember, we are also going to be increasing our basic attack damage with these takedowns. We're going to be blinking more, and we're going to be healing for more when we're attacking heroes, because we're basically always auto-attacking, because this reload is essentially non-existent at this point. So this, I think, at level 16, Sleight of Hand is the talent that really brings this build together and makes it super effective. It's kind of like a snowball effect. By the time you get here, you're going to be one of the most annoying, powerful characters that the game has ever seen. And it only gets worse at level 20, actually, but we'll talk about that soon. There are some other really decent options at level 16, but I think it's going to require a little bit of a different build up in order to really take advantage of them. And well, let's go ahead and reset the talents, and I'll show you what I mean. So if we were to go for Focus Fire, if an entire ammo magazine is unloaded on an enemy, the last bullet will deal a bonus damage. So it's going to be 206 at level 22. This is equal to 30% of the total magazine. So what this means is you basically get free bullets. Like, you essentially deal the damage of free imaginary bullets if you hit a target with an entire magazine, which isn't hard to do. So you just click on Arthas and then you move around, and you're going to get a lot of bonus damage at the end. It's going to be like 3 free shots or something, 3 or 4 free shots. And granted, that is a lot of damage, and you can do a ton of damage with that. But as far as synergy with the rest of the build, doesn't really fall in line very well at all. Now, well, that being said, you do heal for a percentage base with Leeching Rounds, so you are getting more healing on that last shot with Leeching Rounds. So that's, yeah, let's show that off a little bit. I think that's worth mentioning for sure. Let's take a little bit of damage. Come on, Tracer, take some damage. Stop shooting things! Stop shooting things! Okay, I'm gonna die. I'm 100% dead. Or not. Okay, so we're gonna get a bonus healing amount on that last shot. Instead of 15, we get 47. So I guess that is worth mentioning. It does have some synergy there. If we go ahead and reset our talents, I'll show you the last one as well. We have Locked and Loaded. By far, the hardest one to use in the entire level range. Probably her most difficult talent in the game. Probably the most difficult talent in the game, not just for Tracer, but in general. So what it requires you to do, reactivate reload within the last 50% of its cast time to increase your basic attack damage by 35% for the next magazine. That is a very, very substantial damage buff. 35% for every single clip is a lot. Let's go ahead and show that off here. So while this is reloading, you'll see this bar at the bottom. And you have to hit D again within this last little reload time. It's essentially like playing Gears of War. Anyone who's played Gears of War has done this before. And you might be saying, well, that's not hard to do. Well, it's not, when the only thing that you're doing is standing still. We're gonna go from 79 damage here to 103 per shot. That is a massive damage increase. And remember, while we have leeching rounds, we are going to be healing for more. And remember, this also has some great synergy with Untouchable as well. But throughout the course of an entire battle, let me paint you a little bit of a picture. You are a character that at level 22 only has 3,000 health. You are going to be monitoring your cooldowns on Blink. You are going to be jumping in, and you're going to be trying to deal as much damage as possible with your melee ability. You have a very hard to hit skill shot that you're going to have to constantly be checking the recharge of to get the most out of the ability. Adding another layer of actually having to look at your reload bar and land that reload perfectly every single time to get the maximum yield out of your talent. As you can see right there, just because I had to blink at that one moment, I missed that reload opportunity and I was going to deal less damage. It's a very, extremely, nothing even compares to it, an extremely high skill cap talent. But the payoff is a ton of extra sustained damage and more healing if you're able to pull this off. It is so difficult though. I don't see myself using this talent while recording videos at all because it's going to take so much concentration. But if you become comfortable with Tracer and you want to get even more damage, even more healing out of this build, this is up to you, man. You can use this talent if you want to. But for the average player who's just looking to jump in on Tracer and have a good time, not really looking to master her, but just looking to play a very mobile character, I think Sleight of Hand is the best talent to synergize with the rest of this build. And moving into level 20, we have, I think the best option here is actually Total Recall. So what Total Recall does is recalling also heals you equal to the amount of health you lost during that time. So let's break this wall down really quick. Hopefully a little bit faster. What Total Recall will do is allow us to take a lot of damage within a very small window, then reset all of that damage that we had just taken. It is so incredibly strong. Oh, or I'll just die to a tower. Nailed it. So what it allows you to do is go in really, really deep into a team fight. It allows you to get in range for your W. It allows you to deal that damage that you need to deal and then get out with very, very little punishment. So let's go ahead. We'll walk in here really quick. And oh no, we're gonna die. Let's go ahead and just recall. You can see we're back at full health. With a character that's this squishy, it's very likely that any damage that actually hits you is gonna be very, very meaningful damage. So that means your health bar is gonna be moving a lot all of the time. And this kind of an ability, being able to recall and have it heal you, is gonna be so fucking strong. Like it's gonna be one of the best things in her whole kit for sure. And remember, we do have some synergies with this earlier in our build as well, being able to pick up the reduced cooldown on our recall ability at level 1 with Slipstream, just means that we have that extra 4 seconds on the battlefield to really get the most out of this ability. So just food for thought. We are gonna die here. Or not. Yeah, we're definitely gonna die here. Yeah. So that's my favorite in the tier. Total Recall is like incredible, absolutely incredible. You do have Composition B. If you successfully stick a pulse bomb to an enemy hero, you can drop another one at their feet that deals 50% of the damage and explodes slightly earlier. Now I did want to do some testing to see if that particular talent changes based on your sticky bomb upgrade. So I'm going to increase the radius on our sticky bomb just to see if composition B works the way I think it does. Let's go ahead and get our charge. We'll toggle cooldowns. We'll go ahead and hit this thing. Just get that charge back up. You know, I should really be taking that melee talent just for this. And let's go ahead and see if it does the same radius each time. If you successfully stick a pulse bomb to an enemy here, was that not a stick? Was it seriously? That wasn't a stick? Hold on. We'll do it again. He's gonna die before I get the damn thing out. I'll go ahead and just refresh forts really quick and get him to come back out at full health. That should work. Okay, so we have the pulse bomb again. We're ready to go. I just want to see if it gets the increased radius. That's all. That's all I'm trying to do. Hit me. Or just stand there. Okay, so it drops 2 instead of 1. I see. So that could be good if you go for the single target damage one. I don't think we're going to get much of a benefit from pulse rounds. I think pulse rounds in particular, the one I like with this build, I think that's going to have the least amount of a payout with composition B because it doesn't have any extra effects. But the increased radius at level 10 into composition B may be good. And the quantum spike to deal that percentage-based health damage and having that thing go off twice could be good as well. The other option is Get Stuff, reduces melee cooldown by 3 seconds. Hitting an enemy with melee who is stuck with a pulse bomb causes the bomb to instantly explode and knocks that target away from you. That seems so incredibly situational that I cannot see that being reliable at all. I don't get the point of that talent at all. But we'll go ahead and try it out really quick. We're going to have to go get our fucking charge back up. It's so hard to test stuff. It's not really hard, but so irritating to test stuff with Tracer just because of that system. But that's okay. That's okay. So we are going to... Fuck me. I have this problem where I think reload should be on R and instead it's on D. And I don't think I can do character-specific keybinds. I don't think I can. All right, so here's our ultimate into a I didn't even melee. God, see, if you don't get the melee range increase at 13, I don't see the point of this talent either. So crazy situational. But again, I want to at least see it work once. All right, we have our charge. Where's Arfist? Arfist Manifil? Come out. I have shit to settle with you, buddy. Right, there's the ult. And I fuck it. Oh, fuck it. Fuck that ability. It's not good. I died before I can even cast it. You know, it might be. It's like Haymaker. You know, Haymaker is situational. You can make it work. There have been some crazy good Haymaker plays. But is Haymaker the right thing for every situation? Yeah, some people think so. I'm not one of those people. So... Again, just to review, the build I think will be most successful for just your average, everyday player wanting to jump in, wanting to have a good time on Tracer, and wanting to have a fun, successful game. Why is he stuck at full health now? What did I do to this Arthas to make this happen? His AoE is dealing 1,000 damage a second, and he has so much health that he's not even losing anything to these towers. What kind of bug happened here, Blizzard? Quick, get away from him. Okay, so the build that I think will be the most successful, let's review. Slipstream at level 1 reduces recall cooldown by 4 seconds and increases the amount of time recalled by 1 second. So you have a lower cooldown on a very, very important ability later on, and you have more of a window to use this ability to get your heal at level 20 with total recall. Untouchable at level 4 with the option of swapping out with Parting Gift. If you don't have a healer on your team, Is That a Health Pack is also great for keeping yourself alive. All of these are viable. Untouchable is the best in an organized team. Parting Gift, I would say, is the best if you are not confident in your ability to stay alive, and if there's no support on your team, Is That a Health Pack seems pretty mandatory. Level 7, these are all completely up to you. I like bullet time because it has synergy with talent at level 16. So basic attacks lower the cooldown of blink by 0.1 second. Every single time we auto attack, we're going to be able to blink more often. Pretty strong. So basically, how many shots do we have in a clip? 10. So we're taking a second off. Yeah, it's good, man. It's good, man. It's good. Again, pretty optional. Or you can take whatever you want at level 10. But if you're gonna go with composition B, I think pulse rounds is the weakest one. But pulse rounds is my favorite for taking total recall at level 20. So if you're taking composition B and you're gonna get that double bomb, I think it's best to get a bonus to that bomb other than a range increase. But if you're going for total recall, pick up pulse rounds, you'll be good to go. Leeching rounds is my favorite just for staying alive. At level 13, basic attacks against heroes are going to heal you. But bullet spray can be fantastic if you are on a map like Tomb of the Spider Queen and you want to deal more AoE damage. And ricochet can deal more damage in a team fight, although I have not seen too crazy of a yield out of it personally. Keep in mind, I've only played 3 games versus viewers. They weren't necessarily the most competitive matches. Coming in at level 16, we have sleight of hand. Again, the reduced reload time just means that I'm going to be able to fire my weapon significantly more often, which has some great synergy with the cooldown reduction on our blink and also some really good synergy with Untouchable. But every single one of these talents is going to have great synergy with Untouchable, and every single one of these talents is going to have great synergy with Leeching rounds. If you are incredibly competent and confident in your Tracer play, Locked and Loaded will give you the most damage if you can nail that reload timer. It is so incredibly hard to do reliably, though. And then Total Recall, again, level 20, my favorite talent because it allows you to just stay alive significantly more, make plays like you wouldn't believe. Composition B, if you go for one of the other level 10 ultimates, and Get Stuff just seems way too situational to be worthwhile in my book. How did this happen to Arthas here? How did this happen? I've never seen this before. I can't even auto-attack him anymore. We don't even know what to do. I'm gonna take you down, Arthas! Arthas Minifil, today you die! Anyway, thank you all for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna do some gameplay videos for Tracer very, very soon. This is just a theory crafting video. I know it's not for everyone, but for those of you that took 32 minutes out of your day to sit back and watch this video, just know that I appreciate you. Again, I'll be back soon with more Tracer footage, and I'll see you all next time.